Is it individualism? Is it reason? Is it a combination of both? What do you think makes our civilization different from others?
Yeah, I think it's both of those, but I think individualism is both a value orientation. You are going to say the individual matters, right? You're not a serf. You're not a slave. You're not a peasant with all of these people further up. You as an individual, your life is yours and you should be able to live it freely in the pursuit of happiness. But that value individualism has to rest on a cognitive individualism. You have to first believe, and this is the reason point that you're talking about, you have to believe that individuals are competent to be able to live freely, that every human being has the capacity for thinking, for learning, for trial and error, experimenting, for being self-governing. Because if you don't think most people are smart enough to be able to think for themselves, then you're not going to say they should be free to pursue their own happiness, because you're going to think they're going to do stupid and wrong things with their freedom. Or you're not going to give them freedom in their economic lives, because then you're going to say they're just going to get taken advantage of by smarter people in the market, so they need to be protected. If you don't have that cognitive commitment to individual reason, you're not going to be any sort of Democrat or Republican. You're not going to say, let's give everybody a vote, because then you're going to think, well, if most people are too stupid, that's ridiculous. They're going to vote for crazy, ridiculous things. So I think underlying the value individualism first is a cognitive individualism. And this was the revolution that was going on in the 1500s and on into the 1600s. I think that's the real foundation. The value individualism comes quickly closer to that. So this is why, for example, I think someone like Galileo, and we know the story of Galileo's conflicts with the church, that really is over not a particular scientific theory, you know, that's the vehicle, but it's really over, are we going to say, and this is what Galileo was arguing, individuals have their senses, they have their reasoning, they can learn the math, we can all observe with these telescopes and so on, and that's how we should all figure out what the truth of the world is, versus a position that wants to say there is a cognitive elite that has a doctrine, and in more top-down authoritarian fashion, it's going to impose that doctrine. So it was the fact that Galileo and others, you know, Francis Bacon in England, Michel de Montaigne in France, Descartes in France, and a little bit later, John Locke, that commitment to cognitive individualism and the position that prevailed was that, yes, every human being that's born with normal faculties can learn to think. And so there's this then great wave of education. Every individual is going to learn how to read. We start to become richer. We reinvest in the education process, and it becomes an upwardly mobile modern society. So yes, it's the individualism, but that individualism has the two components, a cognitive component and a value component. Individuals are competent to run their own lives because they're smart potentially, and it's their life. And so we should respect their life, their right rather to live it the way they want to do. That's been the great inspiration for modern liberalism.